Hello students. Yesterday and the day before we had a rather busy lesson. We had the writing part, and just to go and revise very quickly what we took in our writing lesson, we had first the comparison, or just to write about the maternal grandparents, about their characteristics as we had, and we put them in the Venn diagram here. So as you can see, we had the different characteristics, and we put the characteristics that are in common in the middle between. And then after that, we had the other part, which is to do our own Venn diagram about our own personal friends, or anyone we know. And also we did the description, the descriptive essay writing, and of course we had a lot to follow, and we also added the different kinds of expressions and phrases that we have in the essay. So this is what we did. Now this is the checklist that I used, and this is something that I advise you in any kind of essay, just to write the basic points that you are going to follow, so it would be easier for you to write. Now moving on, two is better than one, we can see that we just finished the writing lesson that we have here, and we are moving on to the form, meaning and function lesson. So in each unit we have the parts, as we said. In our lesson today, you might ask, what do we mean by form, meaning and function? What is it exactly? So our objectives here are: first, to identify the two grammar patterns, the present simple and the present progressive, and their uses. To distinguish stative verbs and apply them in sentences. Apply the present simple and the present progressive in sentences using exclamations and adverbs such as always, continually, and constantly. Enumerate words connected with museums and galleries. Differentiate between gradable and non-gradable adjectives, and express enthusiasm alongside. So you can see here from the objectives that we have here that it is actually related a lot to grammar lessons. So we have a lot of details today, so I hope that you can catch up and just focus step by step. We have the form, meaning and function. So here, just to make everything clear, I'm going to use this table. We're going to see what we have in the first, then the second, then the third part. So actually, we are going to start by going back to my friends who we wrote about, who are May and Hiba. Now we are going to ask for their help in the new part that we have here. Now going on to what I wrote about them, we have these examples. Now here, I want you to help me, and we are going to see the verbs that we have here in these sentences. So we are going to start line by line to see what are the different kinds of verbs. So you can see in the beginning, I love my best friends May and Hiba so much. In the first part, we have the word love. We have a lot of precious moments together. There is a verb in the second line. So you have here the word have. And then I spend a lot of time with May. She always listens and gives advice. Actually, we have here spend, we have listens and gives. Hiba loves discovering and trying new things. Now, it might come to mind that we have here the word discovering, which is not wrong, but still we have something to explain about it. Because when you read the sentence, she loves discovering, you will discover something by yourself. We have the word trying, as well, it's the same thing. She can make me laugh even if I don't feel like it. Here you can see that we have two verbs. We have she can make, but yet I have the circle on the basic verb here, which is make. We have also I don't feel like it, even if I don't feel like it. You can see that we have here don't feel, which means that we have here two verbs as well. And we have the same thing here. She does get on my nerves, though. She can be noisy. So also we have here can be noisy at times. I just need some peace and quiet. Whenever Hiba starts teasing, and here we have teasing, So just put in mind and just think about them for a second here. We have 3 words that have the ing, and yet I didn't put a circle around them as a verb. And at the end we have here she goes again. Now if you notice that the verbs that I put a circle around them, they have something in common. You can see that in the table here. Let's just try and see. We have, of course, here she goes again. Just note here, and we're going to get back to it. Now just seeing the table here, you can see all the verbs that I circled. We have here love, have, spend, and the same line we have listens and gives. We have loves, so which means that we have here love and loves with an S. We have also can, make, don't feel, does get, can be. We have need, starts, and goes. So we have here the verb, and you can notice that we have other verbs that have the S. So you can here just realize that we have the kind of verb, and from the sentences that we said, you can notice that there was no time mentioned. I didn't mention something happening now or yesterday. They were general truths, they were general facts. So just to go and see the examples that we have. In general, or mainly, this is the fact that I love my friends. We can also see that we do have a lot of precious times together. I spent a lot of time with May, so this time was in the past, the present, and also in the future. We can say that she always listens. So here, connecting the meaning with the kinds of verbs that we have, which we said that we have here the verb and the verb plus S, you can see that we are talking about the present simple tense. And with the present simple tense, I can use a helping verb. Now, usually we use helping verbs when we want to give an extra meaning. So we can use it in negatives, like when we have here, don't feel. We can use it also in questions. We can use it also if we want to give an extra meaning. Now, for example, ability, she can make. We can also use it if we want to emphasize, like when we took the emphatic do before. So we have here, for example, she does get on my nerves. This one was the emphatic do. So the helping verb in general, it gives you an extra meaning, and it depends on what meaning do you want. Also, the last note here, you can see that I have the word here. Here she goes again. Now here can be used to indicate a place, but also we can say that it is used for an exclamatory use. So we can say that here she goes again. Now some details can also be added. We can add some details to the sentence just by using here. Now we're going to see the same idea. We have May is gentle and caring, but can be too sensitive sometimes. She always encourages me to do new things. She is always telling me about workshops and activities I can try out. In spite of that, let's just go back. We have here, in spite of that, she herself is a bit hesitant and thinks things carefully. So we just put a simple black line under caring. So just put in mind that it's like the first part when I said that we have discovering and teasing. And we have yet another verb, telling, and this time I'm okay with putting a circle around it. Now just read the sentence and you can see the difference between them. May is gentle and caring. But the other part, she is always telling me about workshops. Try to indicate what the meaning is. Here, as I am writing my essay, Hiba is telling me that she plans to visit a museum next week, and whether I like it or not, I am going with her. She doesn't take no for an answer. Actually, we are planning now. Now you can see the difference that I used here between the verbs that I had before that we just discussed, the present simple, and you can see that we have here verbs that have an ing. And with every verb, I underlined the helping verb. So let's just see. Now you can see here, we have here is telling, am writing, am going, are planning. Now here we have the main verb that has the ing, and we have the helping verb. And here the helping verb is verb to be. It has to be a verb to be. Now this indicates that we have here the present progressive. Now the present progressive has this meaning, and you can see that usually it means that something is happening now, but it can have also other meanings. And going back to the examples that I gave you, the ones that had the black line. Now we can see the examples here. May is gentle and caring, but can be too sensitive sometimes. Hiba loves discovering and trying new things all the time. Whenever Hiba starts teasing, I say, here she goes again. Now from the examples, you can see that we have gerunds. Now gerunds are, yes, they are words that have the ing. They are a verb form, but actually they function as a noun. So here, their place in the sentence, every verb is as a noun, not as a verb. And just to cover up, you can see that I added here always telling. So I can say that she is always telling me about something, or she is always complaining. We can say that you are always talking in class, for example. So we are going to just outline the basic ideas that we just discussed. We are going to see what we have. You can see that I have two parts. I have the first part, which is the meaning part. So you have to concentrate on what meaning do you have in the sentence. And also I have the part that is concerned with the structure. So I have to know what is the meaning that I want from the sentence, and then I can form the correct structure. Now here, notice what I said. I said form, structure. So this is what we have from the lesson when we said that we have the form, meaning, and function part. Now we have the present simple is used to say that something happens all the time, or some things happen all the time as habits, routines, or repeatedly, so they are not related to a specific time. Or we can say that we have something that is true in general facts. And here we can say that we have something that happens all the time in the past, in the present, and also in the future. Now this is the meaning part. Coming to the structure, we can see that we have here the singular pronouns, or we can use a name. We can say, for example, Muhammad or Abdullah or Amal. So here we have the singular form. We have the plural, which could be names or pronouns. The pronouns we have here, I, you, we, and they. Now, if you are going to use the singular form, of course, you're going to have to add does. Or if you have the plural, do, if you have negative form or a question. And also, from the examples that we noticed, if it is a singular form, we are going to add the s to the verb. And if it is the plural form, we have the base form without any addings. Now, just to cover up what we mentioned before, there is this small part that I mentioned something about exclamations, which we mean that we have here, here, or there, that can be used with the present simple. Now, this is the first part that we discussed. The second part, also we have here the meaning and the form. So we have, first of all, that the present progressive is used to say that something is occurring now or a temporary situation. It's not something happening all the time. So here we can see that we have something that is happening now. And in this case, we have the singular pronouns as we discussed, and we have the plural. We are going to use is with the singular, are with the present progressive, and we have I is separate with the verb am. Now, of course, this is also in the cases of using also negatives and questions, we can add them, but the difference that is, or verb to be in general, is a basic part even in the affirmative sentence. Going on, we have here the verb has an ing in both ways, in both structures, either singular or plural. And also to cover up, we can say that we have here or the present progressive can be used for a changing or developing situation. Now we have here an example we can say about Riyadh. Riyadh is getting bigger and bigger. So here I just had the part about Riyadh and how it is getting bigger and bigger. It is in a changing situation, which means that we have here the present progressive used for another meaning. And also to cover up, I mentioned something about using different adverbs such as always, continually, and constantly. So we have here, this is going to be the first part, and just to also mention very briefly, we have here the present simple and the present progressive, and just to put in mind that we do have other kinds of verbs which are stative or non-stative verbs that are connected to the mind, like remember or know, or we can say imagine, or other verbs that are connected to feelings or senses, like to see, look, hear. Now, usually we have these sentences, they are used in the present, or you can guess here. Try to read with me. We have here the verb believe. We have here she believed him, or she was believing him. Can you use the continuous part here? And we have here want. I want a new car, or can you say I am wanting a new car? What do you think? And we have the third part here with smell. The rose smells sweet, or the rose is smelling sweet. And I'm sure that you chose, we have here, this is going to be the first. This one is wrong. We have the second also. The first one is correct. The second is wrong. And we have the third is correct and the other one is wrong. So you can see that mainly we use the present simple with the stative verbs here. Now we can say in general that we have the present simple. I can say that I think teamwork is important, but the other one, I'm thinking that teamwork is important. Do you think this goes correctly? So we have here, this one is going to be correct and this one is wrong, unless you are sometimes using the verb as a dynamic verb, as an action verb in the sentence. So when you use it as a dynamic verb, in this case, it can be used as the present continuous or the progressive. Now, for example, we have here, I'm thinking about joining the team. So in this case, you're okay with it. Now here, we have different parts, spelling parts that we have. Just to remind you, and this is just an extra information here. So when can you add the ES or just the S? Now, a lot of verbs, they just apply the S. The Y, sometimes you just can add the S, unless you have a vowel before. So if you have, unless you have a consonant, because actually if you have a vowel, like we have here play or enjoy, it's okay just to add the S. But if you have a consonant, like we have here fly or study, you can see that there is the L and there is the Y. In this case, you have to change it into an I and then add ES. Also, if the verb ends with a CH, an SH, if it ends with a double X, we can say with an X or a double S or an X or a Z. Also, you are going to just add ES. And of course, we have here two verbs which are do and go. We add to them ES. So just to remind you that there are spelling rules that you have to apply, and just to refresh your memory. Now, we have completely covered the form part. We have the simple, present simple, the present progressive, and we have here the stative verbs. We have two left. We have the meaning here. And since we just mentioned something about teamwork, which is our basic topic in the unit, I'm thinking about joining the team. Just imagine with me that we are joining a different kind of team, which is something that is related to archaeology. Now you can see from the pictures how archaeology is a very big kind of studies. We have a lot to study. We can see that there are different types. Now here, as an archaeologist, mainly when scientists find different things, they display what they have in two places. They display them either in museums or in galleries. Now just to put in mind that there are different words, and May and Hiba also are going to help us with these different words. So just to go back to the essay that I wrote about them, and this time we are going to look for something different here. We are going to look for meaning. And note that I want something that is related to museums and galleries, as I mentioned before, archaeology. Actually, you can see that we have here the word museum. You can see that also I use the word archaeological museums. We have also history. And we said that May, she prefers very old antiques and jewelry galleries. So these are different words that are related to each other. And this is a part that you have in your book. Now in the book we have some words we commonly associate with different types of museums and galleries, which are. First, we have words that are related to archaeology. We can see that we have ruins, history, jewelry, culture, pottery, exhibitions, and antiques. Then we have other words that are related to technological galleries or museums. We have your scientific documentaries, science, seminars, space, 3D digital cinema showing, of course, we have your 3D digital cinema showing. We have robots and we have educational books. And we have the third type of museums or galleries, the National Museum, where we can find interactive displays. We have here manuscripts, we have documents, state-of-the-art antiques also can be found, and we have here informative exhibits. So just to know that there are different types of museums and galleries, and each one you can find specific things inside them. Moving on, we covered the second part, which is the meanings, words connected with museums and galleries. And we have the last part, which is the function, and also we are going to May and Hiba. So May and Hiba really have helped us with a lot of things here in our lesson. Now we're going to see what we have with them now. This time we are going to look for something else, which is what we have as function. Now just to see here, we can see that Hiba finds archaeological museums extremely interesting. She gets absolutely fascinated by history, unlike May, who prefers very old antiques and jewelry, and which she finds quite amazing. So here we have different types of adjectives. You can see that these adjectives, they are strong adjectives, or they can be regular adjectives. So what's the difference? So just to give you an idea about it, I have something here ready for you. You have here some adjectives, and also I have another part which is also adjectives. But I want something that is related to meaning. Now, for example, I have the first one, which is angry. If I see here, just to take a look, I can see that angry is the same meaning as furious. We have scared, which is the same meaning as, just to look, we have here terrified. You can see also that we have here small is the same meaning as tiny. We have here big is the same meaning as enormous. Bad is actually the same as awful. Silly is the same as ridiculous. Interesting is the same as fascinating. Tasty is another word for delicious. Unpleasant is the same as disgusting. And we have here the last word, which is number 10, important, which is the same as essential. So if they are the same, what's the use? Why do I have two parts? Because actually, the other part here, they are stronger adjectives in meaning. They give you more meaning. And they are the same meaning, but they are wider or bigger in meaning. They give you a stronger one. We can say that they are strong adjectives. So they are like a strong version of the regular adjectives that we have here. But here, we still haven't got to the basic part, which is expressing enthusiasm. Now, I want to use these strong adjectives to express my enthusiasm with intensifiers and the adjectives. So, for example, if I see an elephant, I can say that the elephant is a big animal or the elephant was big. But if I want to express my enthusiasm and to show more emphasis, I can say that the elephant was huge or enormous. So we have here, we use intensifiers to express our enthusiasm with something. Now we can see that there are different types of verbs, or sorry, adjectives here. Now the adjectives that we have two types. We have gradable and non-gradable. The gradable part, we can see the measurement. It can be measured in degrees such as size, age, quality, and so on. For example, we have these adjectives. We have expensive, old, beautiful, important, good, interesting, frightening, small, and big. But we have here, there are special intensifiers here that we can use. Now we have the intensifiers very, really, and extremely. So we can say something is very big, or really frightening, or extremely beautiful. The other part, however, we have the non-gradable. And from the word non-gradable, it shows that we cannot measure the adjective. It cannot be measured. Now these examples are like priceless, ancient, stunning, crucial, amazing, fascinating, terrifying, tiny, and massive. And here also we have different intensifiers. So if you just concentrate in your book, you're going to find that these adjectives, the non-gradable, are the stronger version of the first kind. Just to note in the beginning that we have here, the intensifier really can be used with both gradable and non-gradable adjectives. But we have here different absolutely and quite. So we can say absolutely ancient, or we can say, for example, absolutely fascinating, but we cannot say absolutely interesting. We can say, for example, extremely big, but we cannot say extremely massive. So note that there is a difference by using the different intensifiers. Now these are the intensifiers. You have here three kinds or three words, and also we have for the non-gradable adjectives other three words. So be careful. What are you using? You can use it using an intensifier, but be careful what are you using exactly. Now we have covered up the third part of the lesson as an outline, which is what we did from the start. We did cover up the form part. So we discussed the present simple and the present progressive. We also just had a glimpse at stative verbs and when to use them. And we have also the part about the spelling, just to make sure that you are writing correctly. Then in the other part, we have the meaning. We have words connected with museums and galleries. And we have covered the third and last part of the lesson, which is we have here expressing enthusiasm with intensifiers and adjectives. So we have here, this is our lesson for the day. There is a lot to just go back and revise. You do have your exercises in the book, which I ask you to start, and we will revise the exercises, inshallah. So just take your time, see all the details that you have in the book, start with the exercises, and we'll complete, inshallah, in the next lesson.